All right. So are you ready to dive deep today?
Oh, yeah.
Today we're going to look into the world of Andrew Tate
Interesting.
and his
Oh, yeah, this should be good.
foray into the world of crypto.
All right.
We'll be looking at an investigative YouTube video by CoffeeZilla
Okay.
exploring how Tate went from condemning crypto to promoting it
Right.
and what that might mean for his followers.
Fascinating. Yeah.
So,
Andrew Tate, right.
yeah.
He's really kind of an interesting figure.
Yeah.
He built his wealth through webcams,
Yeah.
then transformed himself into this like alpha male guru,
Yeah.
and now he's all about crypto, particularly meme coins.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see someone who, made a fortune in an industry.
Right.
They now bash publicly.
Right. Yeah.
It almost feels like a masterclass in rebranding and changing the narrative
Yeah.
to fit whatever he's pushing.
Exactly.
But before we get into that,
Okay.
for those who might not know,
Sure.
Andrew Tate is a controversial internet personality known for his flashy lifestyle
Of course.
and alpha male image.
Right.
He initially gained notoriety through a webcam business
Okay.
and later transitioned to offering these like male empowerment courses,
Right.
which he's repackaged and renamed a few times over the years.
From Hustlers University to the real world.
Exactly.
He's constantly tweaking his approach.
Yeah.
But the core message of self-improvement and wealth building remains consistent.
Okay, so let's talk about Tate's initial stance on crypto. Early on, he was actually quite critical of the whole crypto culture. He specifically called out
Like what? What did he call it?
the prevalence of scams,
Oh, really?
pump and dump schemes, and the anonymity of many developers.
Interesting.
He even said,
Thank
and I'll
God.
quote,
Let's hear it.
"Crypto is the only scenario I can think of where you can make a whole bunch of money while benefiting society zero."
Wow.
He definitely didn't seem like a fan, right?
Not at all. He seemed genuinely concerned about the potential for people to get ripped off.
Right.
Especially with all these new meme coins popping up.
Exactly.
Left and right.
He even used the term rug pull,
Oh, yeah.
which is a pretty common scam in the crypto world.
Right.
Basically, a rug pull is when the developers of a cryptocurrency
Okay.
suddenly abandon the project
Oh, wow.
and take all the investors' money with them,
Jeez.
leaving them with worthless tokens.
So they just vanish.
It's like pulling the rug out from under everyone's feet.
What a good analogy.
And Tate was warning his followers about these risks,
Okay.
urging them to be cautious
Good for him.
and avoid getting caught up in the hype.
Yeah.
But then,
Oh.
and this is where things get interesting,
Okay.
he completely flips the script.
He does.
He starts heavily promoting crypto,
Oh, wow.
particularly those meme coins he was initially so wary of.
Interesting.
It's like he did a 180 and went from cautioning against scams to diving headfirst into the very activities he was warning about.
Wow. So he's now promoting scams, basically.
And it wasn't just abstract promotion.
Hmm.
We're talking about a string of specific meme coins
Like what?
that Tate actively pushed,
Okay.
including Roost,
Okay.
Venom Blockchain,
Interesting.
F Madonna token,
What?
and Daddy token.
Daddy token.
And guess what happened to these coins?
They probably went up in value, right?
They all tanked.
Oh, no.
Each of these coins experienced significant price drops,
Yeah.
leaving investors with substantial losses.
So the people that followed his advice are losing money.
What's particularly striking is that many of these coins followed a similar pattern.
Oh, really?
They were launched with a lot of fanfare and hype,
Yeah.
often with Tate's endorsement,
Of course.
but then they quickly lost value,
Geez.
leaving investors holding the bag.
So he's making money.
Right.
And they're losing money.
It really makes you wonder, was this just bad luck?
Yeah.
Or was there something more calculated going on?
Right. Was he in on it somehow?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Did Tate genuinely believe in these projects?
Right.
Or was he simply leveraging his influence to profit from the volatility of the market?
That's a good question.
And more importantly,
Yeah.
what does this say about his responsibility towards his followers?
Right.
Many of whom likely invested in these coins based on his recommendations.
That's scary.
It raises serious ethical questions about the potential exploitation of a dedicated fan base,
I agree.
especially when it comes to financial matters.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've seen how Tate went from criticizing crypto to promoting it,
Yeah.
and how several of the coins he endorsed ended up failing.
Right.
But this is just the tip of the iceberg.
There are more.
Tate eventually launched his own crypto project
Oh, geez.
called the Real World Token,
Okay.
which is directly tied to his paid online course.
Oh, wow.
the real world.
So he has his own token now.
And this is where things get even more complex.
Okay.
And dare I say, concerning.
Right.
This token is part of a unique power level system.
Power level.
That's designed to incentivize continuous subscriptions to his course.
Okay, this is getting interesting.
Yeah, this power level system is like a loyalty program on steroids.
What?
Subscribers earn points based on how long they've been subscribed,
Okay.
which gives them access to exclusive content, perks,
Okay.
and potentially even future rewards in the real-world token.
The longer you subscribe, the more points you get.
The longer you stay subscribed,
Right.
the higher your power level climbs,
Okay.
granting you more privileges within Tate's ecosystem.
Interesting.
However,
Oh.
if you stop paying R, you start losing points,
Oh, wow.
and your power level drops.
So it's like you're punished for leaving.
It creates this fear of missing out,
Right.
this pressure to keep paying month after month
Jeez.
to maintain your status
Yeah.
and avoid losing all those accumulated points.
Wow. That's intense.
Tate even explicitly states in one of his videos,
Really?
and I quote,
Okay.
"It's also very important for you people who think you can join for a month and quit the real world and just go back to being nobody. You have to stay inside to increase your rank, to get your power level. Because if you quit and then you rejoin, you lose all your power points. So why would you lose all your power points to save $49? It doesn't even make sense."
That's wild.
He's making it clear that staying subscribed is crucial for maximizing your potential within his system.
So he's making it really hard to leave.
And then there's the promise of an airdrop,
Airdrop.
which is essentially a free distribution of the real-world tokens
Okay.
to existing subscribers,
Mm.
further incentivizing continued participation.
So he's giving away free tokens to people who stay.
But if you look closely at the structure,
Yeah.
it starts to resemble what's known as a pyramid scheme,
Oh.
where early participants benefit at the expense of later ones,
Okay.
and the system relies on constant recruitment to stay afloat.
That sounds shady.
Now, enter CoffeeZilla,
All right.
our investigator journalist
Oh.
who decides to dig deeper into Tate's crypto activities.
Right.
He compiles evidence of potential wrongdoing,
Good.
including the failed coin promotions
Of course.
and the questionable structure of the real-world token.
Makes sense.
And he reaches out to Tate for a response.
Okay.
But instead of engaging in a dialogue
Oh.
or addressing the concerns raised,
Right.
Tate chooses a different route,
Really?
one that speaks volumes about his character and his methods.
What does he do?
He goes on the offensive,
Oh, boy.
leaking CoffeeZilla's email online and unleashing his online army,
Well,
his so-called war room,
Oh, gee.
on him.
So he's attacking this journalist.
And this wasn't just some polite disagreement or war of words.
Right.
We're talking about a coordinated harassment campaign
Seriously?
fueled by Tate himself.
Wow, this is bad.
He actively encouraged his followers to target CoffeeZilla with abusive messages,
Really?
promising them rewards in daddy tokens
Daddy token.
for their efforts.
So he's paying people to harass this journalist.
He even said,
How do we guess?
"For every single person who can show me they have emailed CoffeeZilla and called him gay, I will buy daddy."
Oh, my gosh.
This highlights the dark side of influencer culture,
Absolutely.
where blind loyalty can be weaponized and manipulated for malicious purposes.
It's really scary how much power these influencers have.
The sheer volume and intensity of the harassment
Uh-huh.
that CoffeeZilla received
Yeah.
is disturbing.
I bet.
He was bombarded with hateful emails,
Jeez.
many containing homophobic slurs and threats,
Wow.
all because he dared to question Tate's activities.
That's terrible.
One email even said,
Really?
and I quote,
It's not personal. Coffee breaks. I really want Andrew to raise the price of Daddy's coin, and he says he's going to pump money into the coin. Trust me, it's nothing personal, but I bought a lot of the coin. And I have to do this, so please forgive me.
So they're trying to justify their actions.
It shows how desperate some people were to recoup their losses,
Yeah.
to the point where they were willing to engage in harmful behavior at the behest of their idol.
It's really sad.
It's a stark reminder of the power that influencers can wield over their followers and the potential consequences when that power is used irresponsibly.
Absolutely.
And amidst all this drama,
Yeah.
CoffeeZilla makes a rather ironic observation about the insults being hurled at him.
What's that?
He's being called a nerd by Tate and his followers.
Oh, really?
Yet Tate himself displays some surprisingly nerdy tendencies.
How so?
It's true.
Okay.
We see this in his obsession with the Matrix, his elaborate council systems,
Okay.
his fascination with chess.
And even the intricate mechanics of his power level system.
Right.
He even said in one clip,
Okay.
you can join the council by buying the course. Then, of course, we will have kings, rooks, bishops, knights. You'll all get a base allocation. You know, the day this imaginary project comes true, you will be rewarded for all of that hard work and cold, hard cash.
That sounds pretty nerdy to me.
It's a lot of complex systems and hierarchies,
Right.
which some might consider quite nerdy in their own right.
Definitely.
It's almost like he's projecting his own insecurities onto others,
Yeah, maybe.
trying to deflect attention from his own geeky pursuits
Yeah.
by labeling anyone who criticizes him as a nerd.
It's possible.
But beyond the name-calling and the psychological games,
Right.
there's a bigger takeaway here.
What's that?
Right, and that is, I think, well,
The whole situation with Andrew Tate just highlights the power dynamics at play, wouldn't you say?
absolutely. You have
Yeah.
Tate, this larger-than-life influencer with millions of followers hanging on his every word. And then you have CoffeeZilla, an independent journalist just trying to get some answers and hold him accountable.
It's like a classic David versus Goliath story.
Yeah.
And it really underscores how difficult it is to challenge powerful influencers, especially when they have a devoted following ready to defend them at all costs.
It's like that war room of his
Yeah.
creates an environment where critical thinking and dissent are completely shut down,
Right.
and blind loyalty is the only acceptable response.
Exactly. And that can have dangerous consequences, particularly in a space like crypto, which is already so speculative and volatile. It becomes incredible. You're right. We live in a world saturated with influencers promoting all sorts of products, services, and even investment strategies.
And while many influencers are ethical and responsible, there's a growing number who seem to prioritize profit over the well-being of their followers.
That's true.
It's like the Wild West out there.
It is.
And it can be incredibly difficult for consumers, especially young people, to navigate this landscape safely.
So this raises an important question. What steps can we take to mitigate the risks associated with influencer-driven scams?
Right.
How do we protect ourselves and others from falling prey to these schemes?
Well, for starters, I think education is key.
Yeah.
We need to equip people with the tools to critically evaluate information online,
Right.
to understand the potential biases of influencers, and to recognize the red flags of scams.
Media literacy is more important than ever before, especially with the rise of social media and the constant barrage of information we're exposed to.
Right.
We need to learn how to filter through all the noise and identify what's trustworthy and what's not.
But it's not just about individual responsibility.
Right.
I think platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok also have a role to play.
They do.
They need to take a more proactive approach to combating misinformation and holding influencers accountable for promoting harmful content.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Greater transparency and accountability from platforms are crucial. They have the power to amplify certain voices and messages,
Right.
and they need to use that power responsibly.
We also need to foster a culture where it's okay to question authority,
Yes.
to challenge the status quo, and to think for ourselves.
Absolutely.
We can't just blindly follow the crowd or accept everything we hear at face value.
Critical thinking and independent thought are the best defenses against manipulation and exploitation.
And let's not forget the power of community.
Oh, yeah.
By connecting with others,
Right.
sharing information, and supporting each other, we can create a stronger defense against online scams.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
There's strength in numbers, and collective action can make a real difference.
This deep dive into Andrew Tate and crypto has been a wild ride,
It has.
but it's also sparked an important conversation about the broader implications of influencer culture.
It's a conversation that needs to continue,
Yeah.
and it's a conversation that we all have a role in shaping.
Now, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive,
Okay.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. Tate's transformation from webcam king to alpha male guru.
Yes, the art of reinvention.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating aspect of his persona, and one that speaks to the fluidity of identity in the online world.
It's almost like he's constantly evolving, adapting his image to fit the prevailing trends and appeal to a wider audience.
And he's clearly very skilled at it.
He is.
He's managed to build a massive following by tapping to certain anxieties and aspirations, particularly among young men.
He offers them a simple black and white view of reality, where success is attainable through sheer willpower and dominance.
And he presents himself as a living embodiment of that success.
Yeah.
With the cars, the wealth, and the alpha male persona.
It's a powerful message, especially for those who are struggling to find their place in a world that often feels chaotic and unfair.
But it's important to remember that this narrative is carefully constructed and meticulously curated.
Right.
It's a performance designed to generate engagement and ultimately profit.
And that's where the danger lies.
Yeah.
When we buy into these narratives without questioning their underlying motives, we become susceptible to manipulation and exploitation.
Which brings us to another question. How can we develop a more discerning eye when it comes to online personas?
Right.
How do we separate the genuine from the fabricated, the authentic from the calculated?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
It is.
It's about looking beyond the surface.
Yeah.
Recognizing that what we see online is often a carefully crafted projection, not necessarily a reflection of reality.
It's also about being aware of our own biases and vulnerabilities. What are the narratives that resonate with us?
Right.
Why are we drawn to certain personalities?
Yeah.
What needs or desires are they fulfilling?
By asking these questions, we can start to develop a more critical and nuanced understanding of the online world
Right.
and the influencers who inhabit it.
This deep dive has been a bit of a wild ride, uncovering some unsettling truths about Andrew Tate and the world of crypto.
Yeah.
But it's also been a journey of discovery,
It has.
prompting us to think more deeply about the complex interplay of influence, identity, and ethics in the digital age.
And as we move into the final part of this deep dive,
Okay.
we'll delve even further into the psychological and sociological factors that contribute to the rise of influencer culture and its potential impact on our individual and collective well-being.
As we wrap up our deep dive into Andrew Tate and crypto, there's one more layer I think we need to unpack.
Yeah, you're right.
This whole psychological aspect to this that we haven't fully explored yet.
Yeah, we've talked about Tate's tactics, his evolution as an influencer, and the potential harm to his followers. But why are people, particularly young men, so drawn to figures like him in the first place?
It's a complex question, but I think a big part of it is the sense of disillusionment and frustration that many young men feel today. They're bombarded with messages about success and masculinity,
Right.
but they often lack the tools or the guidance to achieve those ideals.
And that's where Tate comes in, right?
Exactly. He swoops in with this simple black and white view of reality, where success is attainable through sheer willpower and dominance.
He makes it seem so easy.
He presents himself as a living embodiment of that success, you know, with all the flashy cars, the wealth, and the alpha male persona.
And it's working for him.
It's a powerful message, especially for those who are struggling to find their place in the world.
Right.
He gives them a sense of belonging, a purpose, and a path to follow.
And it's all tied to this idea of making money quickly through crypto.
Exactly. When you combine that message with the allure of quick riches through crypto, it creates an intoxicating cocktail that can be hard to resist.
It's like a modern-day gold rush where people are willing to risk everything in the hopes of striking it rich.
And Tate positions himself as the savvy prospector, the one who knows the secrets to success.
Right, he's the guy who made it.
He tells his followers that he's already made it and that they can too if they just follow his lead.
But we know that's not always the case.
Definitely not. As we've seen, that path to success is often paved with empty promises and financial ruin.
Yeah, the coins he promotes tank the power level system, keeps people trapped in a cycle of subscription payments, and the whole thing starts to feel like a carefully crafted illusion.
So how do we break free from these illusions? How do we develop a more critical eye and avoid falling prey to these manipulative tactics?
Well, it's tough.
It is.
I think it starts with recognizing that there's no such thing as a free lunch, especially in the world of crypto.
Definitely. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
And we also need to be wary of anyone who claims to have all the answers.
Oh yeah, that's a big red flag.
Genuine success takes time, effort, and a willingness to learn from your mistakes.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. And it's not just about the money.
Right?
It's about building a life that's meaningful and fulfilling regardless of your financial status.
Absolutely. So as we conclude this deep dive into the world of Andrew Tate and crypto, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
The most valuable asset you possess is your own judgment.
It really is.
Don't blindly follow anyone, no matter how charismatic or successful they may seem.
So true.
Do your own research, question everything, and trust your instincts.
Those are wise words.
And remember, genuine success is built on a foundation of integrity, hard work, and a commitment to ethical behavior.
Absolutely.
It's not about chasing shortcuts or falling for get-rich-quick schemes.
Right.
It's about making informed decisions, taking calculated risks, and staying true to your values.
And that's the real key to navigating the complexities of the digital age, both in the world of crypto and beyond.
Well said.
That wraps up our deep dive into Andrew Tate and crypto.